What if the Strait of Hormuz crisis didn't affect Gulf energy exports? There seems to be one country in the area that's receiving a lot of energy imports, and this one country is also not really affected by the Iranian limitations of the Strait of Hormuz, nor the US naval blockade in the Arabian Sea. And it seems like this one country is able to export to Asian markets, which rely on Gulf energy exports. This one country is Oman. Oman is currently receiving around 35% of all transit from the Strait of Hormuz to its ports. And from its ports, it's exporting out to China, to Singapore, to India, to Malaysia, and a lot of other countries, particularly the East Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries that really rely on Gulf energy exports. Over the past 3 days, we did some open source intelligence. We investigated routes and different vessels, maritime vessels, gas and tanker, LNG carriers and tankers, and we have some interesting statistics to present today. Over the past 2 days, I've observed 23 transits through the Strait of Hormuz, 22 of these through the Iranian designated area, and one of these in the Omani designated area. So we see already that the vast majority of vessels, at least in the past 2-3 days, were indeed through the Iranian designated area, and Iran is able to effectively control the Strait of Hormuz, as it's been stating. And besides this, of these 23 transits, 34% of these went to Omani ports. So that's 1/3 of all vessels passing the Strait of Hormuz going to Omani ports. That basically means that Persian Gulf energy, oil and gas is going to Oman. Oman's receiving this, and it's exporting this. Another interesting thing to confirm this as well, that helps confirm it actually, is that the majority of destinations and origins of these 23 vessels, 69% of these were within the region. That is, one side or the other side of the Strait of Hormuz. Sorry, either Oman and the eastern coast of the UAE and to the Persian Gulf, or the Persian Gulf countries to either the eastern coast of the UAE or Oman. So basically, 69% of crossings of transits through the Strait of Hormuz were not identified as continuing further into the Indian Ocean, but were confined within the region, within Oman, basically. Oman and the UAE on one side, Persian Gulf on the other. This says a lot. This says that a lot of the vessels that are originating in the Persian Gulf are not passing through the US naval blockade. Because if we remember, US authorities announced that they'll be applying, they'll be seizing, they'll be interdicting, and applying basically a naval blockade to all vessels that are passing through the Iranian side. Well, basically, all vessels of these 23, 22 of them passed through the Iranian side. So these vessels originating in the Persian Gulf, the vast majority, basically all of them, are not going to through to the U.S. naval blockade. There are actually a lot of them going to Oman. So that's very interesting there. Oman in itself was a major exporter already of petroleum and gas itself that it gets from other countries, regional countries as well. And to China, for example, it exports to China, to other, the Philippines, to the Malaysia, Indonesia, to India. So it's a major exporter. And it seems like it's basically getting more of this right now, and it's able to export to these countries. A lot of a lot of maritime vessels right now, a lot of ships, tankers, cargo in Omani ports right now. We see a lot from China, from India, from Malaysia as well, from Singapore, from Pakistan. There were the same amount before, but we continue seeing the same, and that probably indicates further that Oman is basically exporting this Gulf exports, Gulf crude and gas, without being targeted, without being interdicted by the US naval blockade. So what does it mean on the long run? Well, on the very long run, it's difficult to say. But as of right now, we see that regional countries have really adapted to the situation. We see Persian Gulf countries are now exporting to Oman. And Oman is really bypassing the US naval blockade because legally it can't be targeted by it. And it's not being targeted by it because US authorities stated that they're only targeting, seizing, interdicting vessels that have passed through the Iranian side. So the US naval blockade doesn't reach Omani ports. It's a bit further down into the Arabian Sea. So you have that on one side, and you also have Iranian effective control of the Strait of Hormuz on the other side, and we see no naval vessels. I have not seen any naval vessel transiting the normal maritime lanes that we would normally see. It could be possibly that they are mined. It could possibly be that they are being controlled by the Iranian Navy, in a way. But whatever it is, basically all of these maritime vessels, all these ships are passing through the Iranian designated area. East Asian countries seem to be receiving the sources of energy. Obviously, there were interruptions, and that caused major spikes, increases in prices in the Philippines and Thailand and a lot of other countries, and natural gas, for example, petrol as well. But on the long run, Oman may really benefit from this. Oman will be benefiting economically from all of this, obviously geopolitically as well, but economically, it's going to benefit a lot from this. Not that it was a poor country, it's a country that's doing quite well, very stable economically and politically. So you have Oman winning right there. You have the US naval blockade not really effective against that unless the US moves in closer to the Persian Gulf, which if the US does move closer into the Persian Gulf and actually blocks all these ships from going to Oman, that's going to cut the global energy trade right there. It's going to cut exports to global energy, and that's really going to cause a major destruction. Disruption and destruction of economies. It's going to be very serious there. So as of right now, the U.S. is not doing that. Iran, on the other hand, seems like it's actually gaining politically. It's gaining major political leverage, controlling the Strait of Hormuz. It's doing what it wanted to do, what it officially stated that it wanted to do: control the Strait of Hormuz, have all these vessels pass through their designated area with their permission, in transit with their permission. So Iran's able to do that. And the latest developments, literally half an hour ago, the US has officially announced that its delegation is no longer headed to Pakistan, where it was supposed to have indirect talks with Iran. So talks have broken down. US appears no longer interested in talks with Iran. Iran's MFA on its end just stated in Pakistan that it had really good talks, very, very beneficial, fruitful talks with it's the Pakistani delegation, Pakistani counterparts. It had gone to Pakistan from Oman the previous day. Interestingly, Oman, which is very important in this whole strategic configuration. So they're actually the Iranian delegation is now headed to Russia to discuss the same issue with Russia. Now, what's actually discussed obviously stays behind closed doors. It's not a lot of it gets out, but it can make a big difference. If with Russia, it could be anything from Russian presence in the area to have Russian naval vessels possibly patrolling the area, which for some actors in the region may not be acceptable. But we're not going to jump forward yet. We need to see what they talk about. We need to see what they officially put out there. As a matter of fact, just a couple of days ago, Russia and India just signed a bilateral military agreement, a major one, allowing each one to deploy up to 3,000 troops in the other's country, which would mean basically Russia will have access to the Indian Ocean, will be able to stay deployed there a lot longer, its naval vessels, for example, while India will have access to the Arctic, will be able to deploy, for alternative routes in the Arctic as well. So that's another major breakthrough. Well, what does that have to do with the Strait of Hormuz crisis? We'll see in a bit, but there could be an increased Russian presence there. Russia is a major strategic partner of Iran. Iran and Pakistan are very important trade partners as well, and it seems like Pakistan is very engaged in this whole crisis. Well, let's wait and see for the next developments, possibly in a couple of days, and that'll be able to change a lot of things. As of right now, Oman is a major player, and it seems like it's benefiting from all of these energy exports. It's being able to bypass the U.S. naval blockade. It's not really affected too much by the Strait of Hormuz limitations, the Iranian limitations, because its vessels are passing through, going straight to its ports. So right there we have it.